hopefully this is going to work. I just wrote a note that I wanted to leave behind in case of my death, but even though it's very unlikely right now, I thought it was worth doing. I wanted to record it, but I didn't take the time to do it, and now I'm in the hospital. I'm about to go into surgery, so I've run into the hospital toilets just for a couple of minutes to get this done, and just finished emptying my guts up in the toilet over there, and I'll try to give it a read. Not looking my best. I haven't thought much about my death, neither in the past nor during my recent tangle with cancer. I've never been that good at accepting the reality of my future. This is probably why I never save money or maintain long-term plans. It might also be why I don't get too wound up about life. I don't take it that seriously. I'm not afraid of dying. Not now, anyway. I don't think so. Ask me when it's really right there on my doorstep. I might say a different thing. It seems too external, out of my hands. It's like my place of birth or my slightly silly surname. Those things aren't my fault, so why should I make them part of my story? Why should I feel bad about them? I've said the same thing about my cancer recently. It's not my problem. Death, when it comes, isn't a choice. And there's no going back. No reaching out to reconnect with anything once you're gone. So why worry? The real bitch of it is that everyone else who cares about you suffers. It's so unfair. I don't want to make my loved ones feel bad. I don't want them to lose something. Maybe I can spend lots of my time teaching my friends and my family to deal with my end joyously, or just alienate them before I go so they're happy to be rid of me. Nah, neither of those options is realistic. In facing my own death, I have to accept that people will miss me. They will be sad. If you're reading this, you're probably one of them. Cheer up, you're bringing me down. Force one of those bittersweet smiles you see in the movies when the hero goes off in a one-way mission and his beloved smiles through the grief, putting on a brave face for him. Go on, give it a go. It's what I would have wanted. I'm going to say something bluntly now. I feel bad for those people who disagree with my viewpoint and might be discomforted by the next couple of paragraphs, but then one of the things about dying, or almost dying, is learning to stop giving a fuck anyway. So here it is, without apology. God doesn't exist. There are no spirits or fairies, angels or demons. They're concepts, obviously. Very powerful, useful concepts that have brought great benefits to the lives of millions. But they're also hundreds of years behind an intelligent view of the universe. We spent half a millennium gaining knowledge by an objective process, and the evidence isn't taking us anywhere nearer to God's. The one that bugs me most, though, is this afterlife thing. Heaven, karma, whatever you want to call it. Allowing ourselves to invent the notion of living on in some form beyond death feels like a terrible excuse for not making the most of our brief time on this planet. Even if it was true, we would have to find the mental strength to isolate this life as the one to focus on, teaching ourselves to act as if it was all we had. But it's not true anyway. Sure, my atoms will continue long beyond me, perhaps until the end of the universe, just as they have existed for billions of years already. But Ben won't be around to enjoy it. Sorry, my throat is very dry. I've been fasting for the last day and a half. If this sounds bleak, give me a minute. To my mind, it's like the notion that cosmology should make us feel lonely. Seeing the universe as this vast, mechanistic, uncaring thing, with us existing in an insignificantly small corner of the darkness just for a blink of time, would make anyone's head spin. But physicists often say the same thing about this. It's not daunting or sad. It's mind-bogglingly beautiful, sublime. It makes me laugh, then grin gormlessly, soaking it all up. Maybe that's my God, that sense of connectedness, greatness, wonder. If that's what you want to call God, then we're on the same page. But I don't want to pretend that someone is looking down on me or that any of us are going anywhere after this life. With that finiteness in mind, I find myself at a conundrum. Once I go, I won't know anything has happened. Nothing I do or think now will carry through. I'm not looking down on you, I promise. It's like asking what's on the other side of a black hole. For the purposes of something as complex as a living organism, the answer is almost not worth talking about. You go in, you don't come out. So the obvious answer to what I would want to be done after my death is simply nothing. Forget me. Burn, sell, or use my stuff. Get on with your lives. But I can just imagine how you would respond to those instructions. It's how I would respond if you said the same to me. If you told me not to mourn your passing, I'd say, just try and stop me. So let's put it another way. Do what you want. Do what you think will help you all to frame my past existence most suitably to honour your love for me and to help you make the most of your own lives. I don't care about having a funeral. I don't need to take up space in the graveyard. I don't care what happens to my body. The moral thing to do would be to give it up for medical science, I guess. Otherwise, dispose of it. If you want my ashes to sprinkle on some windy beach somewhere, go ahead. But you should probably give my body to science and make the ashes from something else. My clothes, maybe. It's up to you. I'm not judging. I don't care. My body is not me anymore. I'm done with it. Okay, camera cut out. I'm going to go for it anyway and try to carry on. Excuse my voice, though. It's I'm thirsty, to put it mildly, and a little hungry. Please don't blow your own money on an expensive ceremony. It's not a good use of the first few days of life without me. Instead, if you feel that a ceremony would help everyone, make it all about appreciating life, because that's the real gift I get to give through all this cancer bullshit and through death. I get to give you the perspective you need to make the most of the life you have, just as I have been reminded to do the best with what I can with mine. If it hurts you to think that I'm gone, that you won't get to see me again, that we won't have those conversations, those adventures anymore, it's bound to hurt. It would hurt me. We've evolved to have emotional responses to our situations, and this is a shitty one. But you know, the irony of it all is that the pain and sadness are just the other side of the love and the joy we've shared. If you don't like me, you wouldn't mourn me. If you and I were enemies in some rotten war, you might rejoice my removal from the gene pool. But we're not. We're friends. We're family. And I've tried to be a good person all my life, tried to give love. I've certainly received it in such gleaming volumes I could never possibly get my head around it all. So it's going to hurt. From what I understand, some of the emotions we experience can be positive or negative depending on our perspective. Fear can turn into exhilaration. Joy can crumble into sadness. Crying can feel great. So maybe it's all the same thing. That pain and loss is a manifestation of the love we shared. We continue to share it in you. That's yours. You keep that. You're welcome. I don't need it anyway. And if you can't turn that sadness into joy, at least maybe you can console yourself with the thought that it is somewhat equal to the happiness you felt for me when I was alive. Otherwise it wouldn't exist. Did that help? Probably not. Well, sod you then. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I love you really. Really. Find that in you. Hold it close. But let it go too. You won't always feel bad. You won't remember the details forever. And the greatest honour you can do me is to not get wound up with guilt as you start to get on with your life. In fact, I would be overjoyed if the moment you heard about my death, you could pull yourself into a smile, breathe in all the memories we had together, and then just let it all out. Don't linger. Get on. Find other friends, lovers, siblings, sons. Be with the living. And through them, live. If you can find the resolve to put me behind you without a moment's hesitation, don't feel bad about it. You've done me a favour from beyond the grave. If I could have been the person I wanted to be, I would have celebrated your love every day. I would have celebrated love in general every day. We're so lucky to have it, and I've had it in bundles. I've been breathless with wonder at the magic of my life, not just on the precipice of some sunset-flooded valley in a distant land, but also in the rainy alleyways of a Monday morning work commute. I have been, I think, a good guy. Even if I had been unable to see this for myself, it would have been reflected in the gorgeous friends and family I've had around me. I am an aggregate of you lot. You are my fuel, my light. And if I could regret anything from the grave, it would be that I did not celebrate you and this stupid, beautiful world enough. But what's enough? We are cursed never to fully appreciate anything. So we are stuck on a spectrum from desperate desolation and sadness to ultimate fulfillment and joy. And though we all wander around our stations on that spectrum through strife and fortune, I think I have had a blessed place way up in the giddying stratosphere of the lucky few. I have been happy and I have lived with little fear. I have loved and been loved, and that's all I could have asked for. As I type this, having started it with little idea of what it would say, I now end it smiling, inside and out. You did that. You deserve a celebration for that. Let's call it your life and pretend I'm enjoying it with you.